Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host Adil Raja and I welcome you to my English channel Soldier Speaks English. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know that the border closure between Afghanistan and Pakistan has got a great human cost to it? Who is really suffering? You see, Pakistan and Afghanistan shares a border of around 2,640 kilometers. It has got 18 different crossing points, but there are two main crossing points used for trade and travel. The first is Torkham and the other is Quetta. Torkham is in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in the famous Khyber Agency, and Chaman is near Quetta. I have been the in charge and the wing commander of the Torkham crossing, and I know what I'm talking about. And that is why I want to draw the attention of everyone who is taking the time out and listen to this vlog to the human tragedy and the suffering being caused by this unjust blockade of the border crossing, which the Pakistani side say is because of the alleged terrorism which is being supported by the Afghans, whereas the ground reality tells you a very different story where the Afghans are willing to, sort out all the differences. Imran Khan, the Pakistani leader who has been voted in by the Pakistanis, is in jail, and from his jail cell is advocating for a peaceful resolution of the issues with Afghanistan, for which he has asked for a parole from the jail so that he can travel to Afghanistan or meet the Afghan delegation and sort out the issues between them. Why is he doing that? Ladies and gentlemen, at the very foundation of this problem lies the divided tribes issue. Both sides of the border in Afghanistan and Pakistan, which is traditionally called the Durand Line, same tribes lives. So that those are the divided tribes. They're different tribes. Half of it is living toward Pakistan, half of it is living toward Afghanistan, maybe 70-30, maybe 30-70, different compositions, but both sides, brothers are living and sisters are living on both sides. So freedom of maneuver is their basic human right, which is being restricted. Now, every time there is a military clash or a political disagreement, these routes get shut down. And every time that happens, both countries suffer economically, socially, educationally, and even medically, because the Afghans need to, avail the facilities after decades and decades and decades of war. They need to avail the facilities in Pakistan, and they pay for it. They pay quite a heavy price for it. For example, the Pakistani visa fee is only a few dollars, less than $10. But if you go through getting a Pakistani visa directly from the Pakistani embassy, it gets rejected. And if you're in an emergency, if you got somebody who's sick at your home and you need to get a visa, so under $10 visa, for an under $10 visa, you pay around $2,000 to travel agents, who of course are paying it not to the Pakistani government, but as a bribe to the officials who are deputed there at Kabul at the Pakistani embassy. That's a lot of money. That's millions of dollars per month being laundered. They're not even being laundered. There's corruption, and I've got evidence to it. But that is not the only thing, According to a report by Afghanistan International, just this latest border closure in October 2025, that is this month, it is costing the Afghan side over $1 million per day. Well, the Pakistanis might say that, so what? Afghanis, the Punjab-centric Pakistani mindset is that, well, they need to suffer. This is the kind of attitude they are faced with, without realizing that if one brother is suffering, the other brother is also not at peace, and the other brother is the Pakistani side. And yes, I am talking about the divided tribe. It is a very serious issue. Now, aside from this, the patients who need medical treatment in Pakistan are stuck, and perishable goods like fruit and vegetables rot on the highway. So it is not only the Afghans who are suffering, but the food prices in Pakistan are also rising. And Afghanistan is, of course, the prices, the inflation has skyrocketed because of the border closure. And it is being used as a political tool. The human sufferings are being used as a political tool. Now, this isn't the first time. Pakistan has repeatedly used border closures as the pressure tactics during negotiation talks or conflicts, especially when Afghanistan is ready to export seasonal fruits and vegetables like pomegranates, apples, grapes, tomatoes, and cucumbers. Pakistan often blocks the routes, leading to millions of dollars in losses for the Afghan traders. And at the same time, the same fruit is being imported for the Pakistani market from some other country. But somebody sitting in Lahore, maybe. But the people sitting in Quetta and Peshawar, both minority provinces, if you consider the current political dynamics as well, well, they are the one who are suffering at the cost of whom? The center, the Punjab. Who else? You know, Pakistan plays this game under different titles every year, and even several times a year. Last year, when relation between Pakistan and Afghanistan were stable, Pakistan used another tactics. In the Tira region of Pakistan, the Khyber Regency, local people blocked the road leading to Torkham for around 75 days. As a result of this protest, trade between Pakistan and Afghanistan suffered losses worth millions of dollars. Even though there is currently a ceasefire in place after the Doha talks, and there are talks going on in Turkey right now, the borders are still closed. According to The Nation, the Pakistani newspaper, during the first quarter of 2025-26 fiscal year, trade between the two countries dropped by 6%, falling from $502 million to $475 million. In September 2025 alone, trade fell 13% from $204 million to $177 million. Who is suffering? The people, the traders, the normal people, they are suffering. All right. And the divided tribes are suffering. The stability of the region, it is suffering. And this time, even the Pakistani public is feeling the pinch. BBC Urdu reported that tomato prices has surged up to 700 rupees a kg. You keep on hearing about tomatoes in Pakistan, the tomatoes. Well, the prices have gone up because of this embargo. Those who can afford it, it really doesn't matter for them. Once Imran Khan is in power, the same prices, even a minute rise was being discussed day in and day out. Despite the present circumstances, Islamabad has shown very little concern. The Pakistani Foreign Ministry spokesperson said that the life of an ordinary citizen is more important than trade, but many see it as a political excuse. The real cause of these repeated trade suspension is the regime itself, which is being controlled by the military in Pakistan, and the chief is the field marshal, President Trump's favorite field marshal. Well, he has promised a regime change in Afghanistan, and he is unable to deliver because of the geopolitical circumstances. Now, what can the Afghans do under the circumstances? Obviously, they have to find alternative routes. They have to use the routes from Chabahar port in Iran and Bandar Abbas ports. They have to strengthen their air corridors, and they will go to India and they will export to India, and that will become their crime as well. So why are you exporting to India? They Afghans have to expand their rail and road connection with Central Asians as well. It might be a blessing in disguise for them, but what about the poor people in Pakistan? They have to boost trade with Arabs and African nations, of course. Once you're going to push them to a corner, they'll find other ways. As they say, that necessity is the mother of invention. So the roots are already there. They just need to have deepened ties with Central Asia and China. And in fact, the Pakistani policy is pushing them away from Pakistan, a country which was known as our strategic depth in Pakistan, has turned to a strategic trap. When are we going to realize it? And when are we going to do something about it? There are a number of pictures you can see, you can search them around, where the Afghan traders are throwing away their fruits, the fresh vegetables, because they cannot take it across the border, and the Pakistani people are paying the price for it. Because then they are getting the same vegetable and fruit imported maybe from India at twice or thrice the price. I mean, if something is coming from India to Peshawar, and if something is coming from, Jalalabad to Peshawar, the distance from the Indian markets to Peshawar and the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa or the Balochistan markets is a great distance. I mean, the traders in Punjab are going to benefit from it. But what about the people in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan? And what about the human cost and suffering which I have just mentioned? Have a heart. Please have a heart. Spread this message. Share this video. We need to talk about it. It might not be very newsworthy for you, but this is a real human catastrophe in the making. And for the sake of humanity and human rights, we must talk about it and we must raise awareness. Take care of yourself. Thank you so very much for listening.